What is up, guys? Happy Sunday here. Hope you all had a lovely Thanksgiving. We're going to be hanging out here for the next, 20 minutes or so. We're going to go through all of the player inactives, actives that are coming through, and then I'll answer some of your questions. I'm just going to hit refresh on a couple of my feeds here, and we will just start reading off some of the news here. We have, I'm just seeing Alec Pierce for the Indianapolis Colts. He's going to be active for week 13. They did rule out Josh Downs yesterday. Other players ruled out in the last couple of days. Austin Eckler, Josh Downs, J.K. Dobbins, Jatavian Sanders, Jalen Coker, and Dalton Kincaid. So a handful of guys already ruled out for today. Trevor Lawrence, active. He's playing. It's nice to see him back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Brock Purdy will play. He's not 100% healthy, but the report is that Brock Purdy will play tonight. And if you guys haven't looked up and seen any of the weather issues going around the league, the Buffalo game tonight is going to be it says definite snow. I saw dump trucks getting filled with snow and getting removed from the site. So a lot of snow in Buffalo tonight. I'm seeing Tyjae Spears playing. He had the concussion. He's had a lot of injuries throughout this season so far. So that hurts Tony Pollard's ceiling just a little bit here. Let me see. I did see a report that Marvin Harrison Jr., we're going to get him going today. The passing game will go through him. So good news for Marvin Harrison Jr. owners. Demario Douglas is expected to play today. And then I'm seeing Marquise Brown could return in week 16 or 17 as week 15 appointment for final clearance. So if you guys want to snag Marquise Brown and maybe consider him for the championship weeks, I don't know if he's going to be a good start for those, 16 and 17th weeks, but he's interesting. Cedric Tillman was also listed out. And then I'm going to hit refresh on a couple more feeds, and let's get into some of the questions here. Good morning to Justin. He's asking if Warren Stevenson or Gus Edwards. He needs one. I am tending to just not trust Ramondre Stevenson and the Patriots. Last week's usage was very strange for the Patriots. It looked like it was kind of like a 50-50 split between Antonio Gibson and Ramondre Stevenson. So I'm kind of like iffy on Stevenson. I do like the matchup today, and he also has the potential to fall into the end zone a couple times. We've seen that throughout the year. Gus Edwards, again, not a guy that I love. He's basically just a touchdown or bust guy. He's going to get you 40, 50 yards and a touchdown. Otherwise, if he doesn't get that touchdown, you're looking at 4 to 6 points. I'm still going to go with Jaylen Warren. I think he offers the highest floor, and he's got the ceiling where he got the rushing touchdown last weekend. I think I'm going to go with Warren. If I'm ranking them, I'd go Warren, Stevenson, Gus Edwards. But if you want to go Stevenson one more time, I don't think this is a bad spot for Stevenson. I do think the Patriots have a chance to stay in this game with the Colts. It's a cold weather game today. I can go over the weather next if you guys do have questions, but I have Jaylen Warren ranked one ahead of Ramondre Stevenson in my ranking. So I'll go Jay Warren. Bills defense or Minnesota defense. I'm thinking Bills defense, man. You have a dinged up Brock Purdy right now. Minnesota, Arizona kind of feels like a potential shootout to me. I'm a little bit skeptical of that one. We just saw the Vikings. The Vikings have a good defense in theory, but they do allow receivers and quarterbacks to have decent fantasy games against them. So I'm not super pumped about Minnesota. I do think Arizona shows some fight today in that game. I'm seeing 45.5 points projected in that game. Buffalo tonight, there's 44.5. The Bills are 6.5 point home favorites. That's a good spread for Buffalo. So I'm going to lean Buffalo here. The 49ers offense just not looking great. Purdy or Kirk Cousins. I'm going to go with Kirk Cousins here. Kirk Cousins, I believe they're in Atlanta today. Yes, they're in Atlanta. 47 points in that one. They're in a dome. There's no weather to worry about here. I think Kirk Cousins is your better play over Brock Purdy. I just want to double check my rankings to make sure I have that reflected. Yes. Hey, good morning to Aiden. Anthony Richardson or Sam Darnold. I have Sam Darnold as my QB 11 right now, but that's with the guys that have already played removed. So I do think of the plays today, Sam Darnold gives you a little bit more juice. I like that game a little bit better. Indianapolis at New England, not super excited about that one. It's a cold 36 degrees, but it's clear and sunny. There's no snow or anything. Seeing 8-mile-per-hour winds. I'm going to go Darnold here. He's been the better play all year. We lost JK and my 14-man picked up all 3 backups. Should I trust one or boot up Warren? I'm probably going to go with Jaylen Warren over here. We kind of covered that with the Warren Gus Edwards question up here. I do think Gus Edwards has the ability to get a touchdown today, which could be nice. We're not scared of that Falcons defense. So, like, if you are feeling a Gus Edwards touchdown today, that's what's going to take him over the 10 points that you need. Otherwise, I think Jaylen Warren's locked into 8 to 10 points. I feel very comfortable with Jaylen Warren as my RB2. And I'm just looking at the fantasy points allowed here. The Falcons have been allowing, they've been middle of the road against running backs here, allowing about 20 some points per game to the running back position. So not a ton. They let Javonte Williams score the week before. Alvin Kamara didn't do much. Rico Dowdle ran for 75 yards. So you can run on the Falcons, but I'm going to lean Warren here, who I think's got the safer floor, and he did get the touchdown last week, so maybe he keeps falling into the end zone. But I'll go Warren. Otherwise, Gus Edwards is the Chargers back you want. Addison, Chase Brown, Ridley, Gus Edwards need 2. We're going to lock in Chase Brown for sure. I think that's the one that's kind of the no-brainer here. I think Chase Brown's a top 10 fantasy back right now, so he makes the most sense. And then I'm probably not going to go with Gus Edwards because Addison, I mean, he put up 30 points last week, and we saw Calvin Ridley. He's had some really big opportunities the last month or so too. And I just don't think Gus Edwards offers the ceiling that those two guys have. So I'm looking at Ridley or Addison. I'm going to go with Ridley just because he's that team's number 1 wide receiver. Tennessee today, that game. Tennessee at Washington. Let me just double check the weather here. We're not super afraid of the Washington defense. I'm seeing 42 degrees, a little bit of wind, mostly cloudy. The weather shouldn't be a factor. So I kind of like Ridley. I'd rank them Chase Brown, Ridley, Addison, and Gus. Anytime TDs, good question. Let me pull up the DraftKings here and see if we can do some anytime TDs. I didn't put any bets on the prop list for this week. I think if you're looking at Texans, Jags, yes, Joe Mixon's probably going to score. I would bet Nico Collins scores today. Nico's only plus 120 today. I feel good about Nico scoring. I also feel if you want to do a Jags bet, we can get Brian Thomas Jr. in there at plus 210. Excited for Trevor Lawrence back. But from the Jags game, Jags-Texans, Nico plus 120 would be the one that I like. The Commanders, Brian Robinson's probably going to score today. Again, no Austin Eckler. B-Rob's minus 135 to score. I think Tony Pollard's a good bet with plus 130. And then if you want, you can maybe try Calvin Ridley at plus 205. Otherwise, it's hard to predict the Commanders because it's going to be Brian Robinson, Jaden Daniels, or Terry McLaurin. But I'm not in love with any of those bets. Cardinals, Vikings. Again, this is the one that I like a lot. Aaron Jones is minus 140. We haven't seen Justin Jefferson have a big game in a while. So I like JJ. Justin Jefferson plus 105 today. You also have James Conner plus 105 to score touchdowns. He just got the big contract extension. I would do Conner and Justin Jefferson. Those are both really nice plus 105s. And then if you want to do a Marvin Harrison or a Trey McBride, Marvin's plus 185. If you put a $20 unit on that pays out $57. And if you put a $20 unit on Trey McBride, that pays out $54. Will Trey McBride get his first receiving touchdown today? Maybe. Steelers, Bengals. Chase Brown's only minus 125. That feels pretty good. I do like Jamar Chase today, minus 110. George Pickens plus 155. I like the opportunity for the passing game for the Steelers today. So Pickens intrigues me at plus 155. Bijan's minus 155 for the Chargers-Falcons game. You could do Gus Edwards is looking good. He's plus 110, but I'm not super in love with that game. I think Breece Hall minus 105, Kenneth Walker minus 105, maybe DK Metcalf plus 210 today. I'll do Jonathan Taylor minus 115 to score. Let's see what else we got. I'll do Bucky Irving plus 105 for Tampa Bay. I also like Chuba Hubbard at plus 100. Maybe Mike Evans plus 130 against the Panthers. That one kind of makes sense. Kieran Williams is minus 235 to score. Alvin Kamara minus 170. Taysom Hill minus 125. I'll do Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua. Both those guys are plus 105. So I think that's a sneaky spot. And then Eagles, Ravens, Derrick Henry minus 220. Saquon Barkley minus 180. Those are kind of layups. Jalen Hurts minus 120 is not a bad spot either. And then I do like A.J. Brown at plus 120 against the Ravens. How do you feel? Good morning to Chase, by the way. How do you feel about CMC and any 49er players given the weather? I have Bucky on the bench too. I don't know if I'm ready to bench CMC for Bucky Irving. I would still expect CMC to get the ball a ton today, especially in the short area passing game if the weather is a factor. So I like Bucky. I think I have Bucky up to – I've got him at my RB16. I still have Christian McCaffrey at RB11. So I'm not super excited about the passing game for the 49ers. So I'm not looking at Purdy, not super excited about Jennings or Debo. I think Kittle's the one guy that's locked in at your tight end spot. And then CMC, I'm going to continue to play. If there's a way to get Bucky in there, I do like Bucky today against the Carolina Panthers. I think that's a really good spot. Higgins or Pickens in a standard. I'm going to go, oh man, T. Higgins has just been so freaking good lately. But it is a tougher matchup against the Steelers. I think you go with George Pickens. He's the team's number one. Cincinnati can't defend the pass. I think you lean George Pickens by a little bit. And yeah, I think Pickens is set up to have a really nice day today. Westbrook or Edwards. This one's a good morning to Harris again, by the way. Westbrook has been on a touchdown streak. I think he's got 6 touchdowns in the last 7 games. I'm fine trying to go hunting for a touchdown. I think Gus Edwards is the more likely to score. So I'm going to lean Gus Edwards here, but I think both guys are interesting touchdown plays. Yeah, Brian Thomas Jr. day, baby. I like London, Jefferson, Connor, T, Wilson, Mixon, Kittle. Those all sound good to me. Thomas Jr. or Pittman, how you feel about Trevor Lawrence? I think before Trevor Lawrence's injury, he was playing very good football in real life and for fantasy. Some of his metrics were kind of off the charts, and he was in the top 5 of a lot of things. So I'm expecting good things from Trevor Lawrence. I think if you're looking at who he's going to throw the ball to today, it's going to be a lot of Brian Thomas Jr. and a lot of Evan Ingram. I'm very excited about Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to lean Brian Thomas Jr. I think he's got the better ceiling compared to Michael Pittman Jr. And I know Josh Downs isn't playing, but you still have Alec Pierce and Adonai Mitchell, who they like. I think we might see a lot of Jonathan Taylor today, too. I'm going to lean Brian Thomas Jr. Mr. Magic, good morning. Kyler or Jaden Daniels? Whew. I think you stick with Jaden Daniels. He's been the better, more consistent quarterback all season. I still like Kyler Murray. I have him as a top 10 play today, but I'm going to stick with Jaden Daniels. Bucky over Kenneth Walker is the only option I can get Bucky in. Mixon and CMC are my RB1 and 2. Yeah, we're not moving Mixon or CMC. Man, I really like Kenneth Walker today too against the Jets. If you have a good feeling about Bucky, I don't think it's a crime to play Bucky Irving over Kenneth Walker. I think Bucky's going to have a nice day today against the Carolina Panthers. So Walker, not exactly like a locked-in RB1 today. We kind of see him as like a, RB 10 to 15, somewhere in that range. And Bucky's right on the edge of that range too. So if you want to go Bucky over Kenneth Walker, I think that's fine. I think that's not a bad pivot. I'm going to hit refresh on some of my feeds, though, and see if there's any more player news coming in. Let's see what we got. Again, I'm just going to kind of recap some of the things if you guys are just joining the show. Trevor Lawrence is active today. Breece Hall is active. Alec Pierce is active. Looks like the Chargers are getting DJ Chark. And then Demario Douglas is good to go for the Patriots. Let's see what else we got here. Inactives today, you got Marshawn Lattimore still for the Commanders, it's been a while since he's been out. So that's a little frustrating for the Commanders defense. Let's see what we got. Anything else for you guys? I think we're pretty much all caught up on things. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good day of football. I'm going to read the weather real quick for you guys. Falcons Chargers are in a dome, so I like that matchup. Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. It's saying 32 degrees, partly cloudy, 8-mile-per-hour winds. It's just a fine, cold day in Cincinnati. Minnesota, Arizona. That game's in a dome, so I like that game as far as being one of the more a lot of points and touchdowns in that game today. Minnesota, Arizona. Indianapolis at New England, 36 degrees, clear and sunny, 8-mile-per-hour wind, so just a cold, sunny day. Seattle at New York Jets. Kind of the same thing. They got a little bit more wind there, 12-mile-per-hour winds, clear and sunny, 39 degrees. Washington, Tennessee. That's going to be 42 degrees, mostly cloudy, a little bit of wind. Jacksonville and Houston, that game looks good, 61 and clear, 61 degrees in Jacksonville. So it's pretty cold everywhere we go. The Saints and the Rams, that game could be fun. That game is in a dome in New Orleans, so we like that game for points. Tampa Bay at Carolina, no concerns here, about 50 degrees, a little bit of wind, mostly cloudy. And then Philly and Baltimore, that's a good game today, 40 degrees, partly cloudy. That game could get colder as we get later in the day. And then tonight, the big game tonight, Buffalo, San Fran, that game says definite snow. That should be a fun game. But if you guys do have more questions, please keep them coming. Otherwise, I'll kind of get out of here and I'll go. I'm going to load up some props on the website, Aiden. I'm going to throw some touchdown bangers in there for you guys because I do like a few guys today to score, some of those ones that we read off. But if you guys don't have any more questions, I'm going to get out of here for the day. Enjoy the Sunday. Stay warm. Hopefully, you guys get everything you need. Fantasy playoffs are just around the corner. And then next week we're back to our regular schedule next week with no holiday. So we'll get the post-game notes out tomorrow. We'll also do the Tuesday waiver wire stream. Wednesday night we'll do our start sit, and then Thursday night live we'll hang out. And we got Packers Lions on Thursday Night Football, so very excited about that. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the Sunday games. We'll see you next week. Peace. Got me feeling icy.